All right, hi guys. Today we are going to go ahead and go over Iambic Pentameter just a little bit more. So right now I am on the Romeo and Juliet No Fear Shakespeare website. I really like using this in class and when I read Shakespeare myself because you have the original text, how Shakespeare wrote it, and then if you ever get confused, you have the modern text on the other side. So that's a really good way to translate what Shakespeare was saying and understand how he would say it today. But today we are going to go ahead and go over Iambic Pentameter. Okay, so we're going to start with this first line. Okay, so remember, Shakespeare wrote all of his sonnets and most of his plays in Iambic Pentameter. If you guys recall from the PowerPoint, an iamb, remember, is simply a foot or meter of poetry. Okay, so a foot of poetry is an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed syllable. Okay, so an example, guitar. Okay, so guitar is two syllables and you have unstressed, stressed. Okay, so the g part of that word, the first syllable, is unstressed. Tar is more stressed in that word. Okay, so guitar. If you reverse that and you do stressed, unstressed for guitar, it would sound like this, guitar, okay? So you would stress that first syllable a lot more and then unstress that last syllable and it just sounds unnatural, okay? Another example, behind, okay? So you stress hind, okay, that last syllable in behind, okay? If you stress the first syllable, you're gonna have behind, okay? And that just doesn't sound right, okay? So remember, iambs are simply a set of syllables, okay? So you have an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed syllable. So Iambic pentameter is a line of poetry with 5 sets of iambs, okay? So penta means 5, 5 sets of iambs, which means that you have 10 syllables per line of poetry, and it's going to keep following that unstressed, stressed sort of pattern, okay? So I'm going to read this chorus to you, and I want you guys to kind of see how the iambic pentameter sounds. Okay, so this first line is to households both alike indignity. Okay, so I kind of read it purposefully so you could hear the unstressed, stressed, right? Unstressed, stressed syllables. All right, so let's take it a step further. We can go ahead and mark out our iambs together. Okay, so we're just going to go 2 syllables by 2 syllables, okay? To house holds both alike in dignity. Okay? So right there, you can clearly see that there are 5 sets of iambs in this one line of poetry. Okay? So to house holds both alike in dignity. Okay? Two households both alike in dignity. Okay, you can kind of hear the unstressed, stressed pattern of these words, okay? So, interestingly enough, there's actually different ways to mark the stresses of these iambs, okay? So, you can have these different symbols. We're going to go back to this No Sweat Shakespeare link, okay? So, remember, it's unstressed, stressed, okay? And these are the different ways that you can mark the unstressed, stressed syllables, okay? So if it's unstressed, it's gonna be this cool, oh no, hold on. You guys can tell based on this ad, I've been looking at aviators. So if it's unstressed, it's going to be this little like half circle mark, okay? So that kind of makes sense, right? Because if you look at the stressed mark, it's very rigid, okay? So think about you if you're stressed, okay? You're always going to be on edge. You're going to be a little bit like uptight, and these marks kind of show that, okay? So if you're marking a stressed symbol, it's just a straight, rigid line, okay? And then if it's unstressed, it's a little bit more chill. You have this like little wavy looking thing, Okay, so we're going to go back to Know Fear Shakespeare, and we're going to go ahead and mark our iambs. Okay, so unstressed goes over to stressed, over holds. Okay, and you can go ahead and do that for the rest of your iambs. Okay, so we've got unstressed, stressed. That little A is unstressed, like is stressed. In is unstressed, dig, stressed, n is unstressed, T is stressed. Okay, so obviously that looks a little bit sloppy because we're not really working with a lot of room on this, but you can see that pattern really well in this line. Okay, so again, you can see very clearly all 5 of your iambs, and then you can see that they all follow that unstressed, stressed pattern. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read the rest of this little of the chorus. Okay, fun fact, the chorus actually is like a super spoiler for the entire play. So the chorus literally explains everything that we are going to read in this play. If you look at the translation on the right side, you can tell exactly what's going to happen. Shakespeare would do this for his plays because that way, like, the audience would know what to expect. Don't forget that these were supposed to be performed. So, all right. So we have two households both alike in dignity. In fair Verona, where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventured piteous overthrows doth with their death bear their parents' strife, the fearful passage of their death-marked love, and the continuance of their continuance of their parents' rage. Ooh, this is a tricky one. Okay, which but their children's. Maybe this is an interesting one. I wonder if this is like all supposed to be a line. Okay, so and the continuance of their parents' rage, which but their children's end not could remove, is now the 2 hours traffic of our stage, the which if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss our toil shall strive to mend. Okay, so it kind of has like a little sing-songy pattern, okay, because it's very unstressed, stressed. And like I said, you're going to see this completely throughout Romeo and Juliet. And then also Shakespeare writes all of his sonnets using iambic pentameter. It's actually pretty interesting because if you think about how much work it would have taken Shakespeare to like make sure that he is only writing in iambic pentameter for all of his sonnets and then for his plays, like that must have taken him a lot of organization and a lot of thinking, and it just seems like that would be a horrible way to write. But so Shakespeare is, again, very well known for iambic pentameter. It's a hallmark of the Shakespearean sonnet, which you guys learned a little bit more about previously. So it's kind of a weird thing. Iambic pentameter doesn't really give you any clues as to what it is, and it's kind of a confusing thing to learn, but I just wanted to show you guys that. The most important thing is that an iamb is a meter of poetry. It has that unstressed, stressed syllable, and an iambic pentameter is 5 meters of poetry. Penta is 5 meters of iamb, so 10 syllables total. So I hope that this helped a little bit. Sorry that I got a little bit tripped up there at the bottom. And that's it.